Okay, let's start with the new topic, multipole expansion. We have already covered a little bit about this, but let's go this over in detail. So we start this idea, multipole expansion, comes from the series expansion of electrostatic potential in terms of spherical harmonics. So various terms are treated as the multipoles of different order. And depending on the importance or physical problem, one may terminate this series at a appropriate order. So we will see the detail as we go along. So let's consider a localized charge distribution, and it can have any shape. So this distribution is localized to say that the charge density is entirely confined to a spherical region of radius r, and outside this region the potential, not potential, the density is 0. And we would like to see the potential because of this charge distribution outside this region, or where when the rho is 0, we want to calculate either potential or the electric field. So this is the basic idea of multipole potential. So let's say that we have an observer at R, and charge distribution R prime, and then we know that the potential can be written in terms of density and 1 by R, with the, of course, with the suitable boundary condition. In this case, since infinity is within our range, so we would like to have phi of R going to 0 as R goes to infinity. So this is a potential we have, and we see that there is no density distribution outside the sphere of radius r. Then we can expand this in terms of the spherical harmonics. Inside also we can expand, but that would be a different series. When it is outside, you see that this is expanded in terms of 1 by r to the power l plus 1, and this is your spherical harmonics. And finally is the coefficients which we have to determine based on the charge distribution. And you see that the angular dependency of your potential comes through the YLM, and the magnitude comes because this vicious 1 by r to the power L. So for a given order, you have your potential falling as r to the power L plus r to the power minus L plus 1, and that is what makes it interesting to have various approximation, and that is what we are going to see. Once we have ALMs with the orthonormal polynomial YLMs, we can completely compute the describe the potential by the charge distribution. So you see that inherently this is YLMs are complex, but that should not be a problem, because you can suitably combine these complex numbers to produce a real potential, and that we have been already using e to the power. The complex term comes from the angular part which we have used, e to the power I m theta. So multipole expansion, the coefficients of the YLMs essentially are called the multipole moment, and conventionally they have been written denoted by QLMs. L and M has a conventional meaning, and they can be computed with the density distribution given in the basis of the or YLMs. So you can compute the Q star because it's a complex number. You can depending on the basis which you use, you get the complex conjugate or QLM depending on the basis which we use. For a given L, we have a M which is go over from minus L to plus L. So we call the zeroth order is called the monopole moment, and that is almost that is like a sphere. How average this thing which we total charge looks like. It is independent of angle, and then we have L is equal to 1, which we call a multipole moment. When L is equal to 1, we have three choices of M, that is minus 1, 0, and 1. Because of the properties of the orthonormal functions which we are using, they are all not independent. With this relation, we always have QLM star is equal to QL minus M. So this makes it we need two independent multipole moments of order L is equal to 1 to describe charge distribution. Now we can go ahead. We have L is equal to 2, which are called quadrupole moment. In this case, we have 5 M values for M is equal to minus 1 to plus 1. Again, they are all not independent because of the relation between the YLMs and its complex conjugates. So we again have basically three independent quantities which describes the quadrupole moment. Let's look at the physical insight, get some physical insight into the multipole moment. We have a multipole moment can be described using YLM or your conventional Cartesian coordinate system, whichever whichever is useful depending on the problem. In the current case, we are using YLM in terms of angular coordinate in the polar coordinate that describes the complete potential in the YLM basis, and this coefficient essentially we call it the multipole moment. So when we look at the total moment, it is explicitly written in terms of this. We have a monopole term which is independent of all angle. We have a dipole moments, which is a combination of three terms corresponding to each L is equal, M is equal to minus 1, 0, plus 1. And then we have a 5 term corresponding to the quadrupole moment. Now the distance dependency, the prominent term, that is a monopole term, has a dependency of 1 by r. The potential goes as a 1 by r. So in a way, physically we understand QLM Q00 represent some kind of total charge inside the system. On the other hand, dipole term, which goes as 1 by r square. So that we have already seen some of the example with the dipole potential, and that would be dependent on the 1 by r square. Quadrupole term, on the other hand, depend on the r to the power 5. So the r dependent is very crucial in understanding the quadrupole moments. You see that the function 1 by r rapidly falls off and goes to 0 at infinity. And when we have finite distance, we have different terms falling at the different speed. Let's have a closer look at it. In this plot, I have plotted 1 by r, blue curve, and orange curve, which is 1 by r square, and a green curve, 1 by r cube. So we can see that over a very large distance, 1 by r term is falling off very slowly. On the other hand, 1 by r square and r to the pi term drops off very quickly. A better way of looking at them is taking a logarithm of the potential so that we can see the slower drop in this case. It is the same plot, but it is y-axis taken plotted in the log scale. So here we can see that at a given distance 1 by r has a significant value compared to other two uh, powers. So that means at any given distance, the monopole term dominate over the other multipole expansion, and other terms fall off as L goes to larger and larger. Here I have plotted only 3, but one can do it for more, but behavior is very similar. Let's say that you have a person who is measuring the electric potential or electric field, whichever way is convenient. Let's say that person has a least count of 0.01 volt. That means he can't measure anything below 0.01 volt. Of course, this is an arbitrary unit. You can change it to whatever value you want. Then the distance from the center changes to edges this curve. Now, if person is standing at a point at this red line, then you would see that the person will see only the monopole term, because only that is detectable with this instrument, whereas he or she cannot determine the potential because of the 1 by r square or 1 by r to the power 5. So when you are very far off from the source, then you can see only monopole, and you see that the monopole is essentially, if you look at the expression, it is the integral over the density, and that gives you the total charge at uh, inside the region R, and then the total charge and the potential behaves like a single point charge, and the potential falls off in the 1 by r this thing, regular Coulomb potential. Now let's bring this person who is measuring the electric field to the little closer, and at this point you can see, when you come very much closer, you can see two terms. In addition to monopole term, you will also see dipole contribution too. Now dipole is essentially vector which we can define as in terms there we have already seen it, and that term falls as a r square term, and then quadrupole term will not be visible at this stage. In the dipole, it essentially the total charge that looks like a 1 plus and 1 minus charge put at a distance d from each other, and then one can calculate the dipole moment, and 1 by r square of that is what we essentially see. Now if we come still closer, and then you can see that when you come much closer, you can also see quadrupole moment, and the quadrupole distribution which falls as a r to the power 5, and then you can see that it has a much more complex dependency ij, which we have to sum over 5 L's or whatever value, and essentially gives you the quadrupole moment. If you have a more sensitive voltmeter, you would be able to see more and more multipole moments, or you have to come closer and closer to this. So one of the advantage of using the multipole expansion is that whenever you need to do a cumbersome calculation, you can ignore the certain higher order terms to simplify this. Leading order, second or third multipoles can be always taken to see how the system behaves. what we have seen is the radial behavior, or how the potential falls with respect to the distance. We should also, to get more insight into this, we should also look into the angular dependency of the each of the multiple terms, and then we can see what are these two independent quantities in the case of dipole, and three independent quantities in terms of quadrupole moment, whether we can see them as a function of theta and phi potential, and then that we will do in the next lecture. Let me stop here for this lecture.